Good morning. And when I say it's morning, and I'm doing chicken already. A lot of you over the past year and a half or so have been asking about my cheesy buffalo chicken dip. I've already done one rotisserie. I cheated. Normally I cook raw chicken breast in the crock pot and I put a little bit of chicken broth, but this year I'm pulling apart rotisseries, and yeah, I bought them at Hannaford. So I'm gonna pull this apart. I already have one pulled apart in the crock pot, and I'm gonna get this pulled apart, and we'll be right back. That maybe you'd want to see me rip apart some of this chicken. So I've got the legs and the thighs off, and look at these big breasts. Those are pretty cool. So yeah, I pretty much just tear it all apart, and what I do, instead of shredding it like I do the chicken breasts that I cook raw, I just chop it up into really small pieces. That way it makes it go a lot further. I do chop up some of the skin, but I do it very, very tiny, and that all gets cooked down. I was just thinking, I have done this with the rotisserie chicken one other time, and it did turn out pretty well. So just got to watch out for all the bones. You can save these and make a soup. Yeah. So these all are free of bones except for this little guy here. I did have the dog beside me, and I was feeding her a little bit of this and that, but Bigfoot took her out for the morning finally because she has not been out yet. So she's out with him, and ooh, we have eggplant. Well, they're not full eggplants yet, but the Asian Oriental eggplant, the Thai eggplant, has one, and the regular big eggplant has several. So I'm super excited about that. So let me get this chicken pulled off, and then we'll get it cut up, added to the crock pot, and I'll show you what else I do. This is just an easier way of doing it, is using the rotisserie chicken. Okay, so we got the chicken in the crock pot, and we're going to turn that up on high. And we're going to get our handy dandy Spurtle that Crazy Irish gave us. She gave us the whole set. And I stuck all the jelly, like the gelatin fat juices from the bottom of the rotisserie. So whether you make your own chicken, like I said, I normally fill this up about just enough to cover at least a quarter of it, maybe half, with chicken stock. And then it creates its own juices. So I am going to have to add some chicken stock to this. All right, so we're going to put in our chicken broth. Just going to take this over here, pour it all on top. And I don't want too much because you don't want this too liquidy. You want it to get thick. You can always add more, but it's a little hard to take out because then you're taking out too much. So just add, I don't know, like just enough to make it so you can kind of see when you spread it. I don't really have directions for stuff. It just kind of turns out. I'm more of like a fly by the seat of my pants, gourmet. Things just kind of turn out type gal. I don't really do directions. I'll read the directions and then I do my own thing. So, all right, I gotta go outside and see if we have any onions ready because I don't have any more yellow onion, but I do have green onion. So worst case scenario, onion powder. and green onion. However, I like the way yellow sweet onion caramelizes, because eventually as this cooks, you're going to be scraping the sides with all that, like, it's not really burnt, but that brown yumminess, and then you just kind of keep mixing that through. So that kind of what it makes it, just saying. So before I go out to go see if we have any yellow onion ready, even just the small remote one, without having to go to the store, I decided to chop the green onion that I have in the house with the celery. And while I'm out looking, we'll get this simmering. Because the celery takes a minute to, a long minute, like quite a while, to get soft and mushy in there. So we'll get that going, stick the lid on it while I go get some onion. All right, we didn't have any yellow onion, so green onion it is.
Make it with green onions?
Yep. I don't know how it'll turn out, but it'll definitely have the flavor of onion.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah. It's just that the yellow onion should be used because of that caramelization that happens in the crock pot where you scrape the sides.
I bet those green onions would probably caramelize too. I bet they would.
Maybe so.
They haven't hot enough for long enough.
Yeah. So far we have our chicken broth, our onion, our celery. I probably will add some more celery, but I just wanted to get some and get it going. I love the smell of celery when it's cut. Okay. So once this gets cooking, look at that. It's already getting pretty warm. I gotta stray. Runaway celery. So we'll get this mixed in. The other thing that I'm going to be adding is you can use cayenne pepper too. I always put a little bit in there, but I just use the Frank's Red Hot. You use that to your taste. Also, chunky blue cheese. Also, you buy your own brand to taste. And cream cheese. I usually use 2 bricks, but instead I'm going to be using 2 whipped because, well, that's the kind that I had. So we're going to let this simmer for a while, and then we will be adding those 3 ingredients. Also later we will be adding the Mexican style shredded cheese. All right, so we're cooked down quite a bit. So then you just take your cayenne pepper sauce, and we add quite a bit. So you're gonna have to do this to your taste. I do have another bottle if needed, but I don't think it'll be needed. We'll see. And then you do your blue cheese. Now this still needs to simmer quite a while. I usually let it go like all day, or what I'll do is I'll start it in the evening and put it on low and let it go all night and then turn it back up in the morning. I was gonna start this last night and I just got tired. So yeah, whole thing of chunky blue cheese. And then we take our, usually I use a brick. Now when you use a brick, it has to be softened, so leave it out. Just like you would like if you were making a cheesecake or any other dessert where it needs to be softened. But with the whipped, you don't have to. And I'm gonna use 2 whipped. Get that stirred in. So now your extra liquid, that's where when the cheese comes in, that cheese is just gonna suck up all that extra liquid. And that's why you don't want too much liquid, because you don't want cheesy soup. You can take your brick right out of the freezer, like your cream cheese brick right out of the freezer, and let that just kind of melt in there if you do frozen cream cheese, which I guess I could have done, but pressing for time today. I replanted some pond plants, took them out of the old planters, the ones that are sunk in the pond, put some new stone, added some new soil, covered the rest of it around and on top with stone. So we did one of those each, those German irises for each pond. Got to see our frog. So I have another whole big thing of cheese that I'm gonna add what's left of this bag. for right now to get this going. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding our cheese little by little. And a lot of times what I end up having to do is get another crock pot out and start transferring this into the other crock pot. And you can bring the whole crock pot to the party, or you can just put it in a big metal container and cover it with foil, and then you're ready. So we're gonna let this thicken, and we'll be back in a while. Okay, so I put the rest of the cheese in here, and I threw some paprika, salt, pepper, chili powder, and let's see, so total there's probably about 1.5 pounds of cheese in this big crock pot, but this crock pot's like really big. So we're just gonna let that melt down. I've been scraping the sides, so it is at that point a few hours later. Let's see, 10, 11, 12, 1, well, about 3 hours later, it did start to do the thing on the sides where I scraped a little bit of brown. But this is a slower crock pot, and I did taste it, and the green onion is gonna be just fine. So we wait. Okay, cheesy buffalo cheesy chicken dip. It just needs to sit and get thick, or you can stick it on a plate and let it get a little cool and thick there. I've been scraping the sides, so that's been getting nice and brown around the sides the way we like it. We did decide to stay home today because we're just tired. And we decided, I don't know, we just want to stay quiet here at home. My oldest daughter came over with our grandson, and, you know, just decided to stay home. Okay, there it is. Yum. It's still pretty hot, but like not spicy hot, but like temperature hot. So it will set up as it cools. But it's done.